It had been 47 years since Evelyn Wren last set foot on the old weathered dock behind her childhood home. The boards still creaked the same under her soft steps, and the lake still stretched out like a secret held in stillness. Evelyn, now 72, stood quietly with her shawl wrapped tightly around her shoulders, as though protecting herself from the ghosts of memories that stirred with the breeze. She hadn't come back here in decades, not since that one night she had never spoken of. Evelyn had spent most of her adult life in a quiet suburb, teaching English at a local high school, raising 2 daughters, and attending church on Sundays. Her life had been shaped by a rhythm of responsibility, a devotion to stability, and the silence of things left unsaid. To the outside world she was composed, pleasant, always appropriate. But deep within her, a part of Evelyn had remained frozen in time. Back in the summer of 1974 when everything changed. It had started as a normal summer. She was 21, back from her university studies, spending time at the lake house her father built. Days were filled with sun, water, the scent of pine. Nights were quiet, except for the chirping of frogs and the whisper of wind across the water. But one night, the stillness had been broken by something unexpected. Something Evelyn never told anyone. That evening had begun like any other. She had taken a swim before sunset, her skin still warm from the sun, her laughter echoing across the shore. Afterward, wrapped in a towel, she sat on the dock drying off as the sky turned orange and the lake shimmered like molten gold. That was when she heard it, the creak of boards behind her. She turned around, startled. No one was supposed to be there. The house was empty. Her parents had gone into town. But there he was, a stranger. Not a man from town, not someone she knew. Just a silhouette. And just like that, her life split into before and after. She never told anyone what happened that night. Not her parents, not her sister, not her husband, not even herself in the mirror. She buried it beneath decades of silence, pressing it down with good deeds, careful routines, and the endless demands of motherhood and marriage. She told herself it wasn't real, or if it was over. Forgotten. That was enough. But time has a way of circling back. When her husband passed away 5 years ago, something shifted inside her. The quiet of widowhood gave her space she never asked for. And in that space, old memories began to float to the surface like driftwood in the lake. She began painting again. Something she hadn't done since college. First it was flowers, landscapes, soft things. But soon, without meaning to, she began painting the dock. Then the lake. Then the orange sky. And eventually, the silhouette. She hadn't planned to return to the lake house. But last fall, when her youngest daughter mentioned selling it, Evelyn surprised herself by objecting. She needed to see it one last time. Alone. To face something she hadn't faced in half a century. That's why she came back. Inside the house, everything smelled of cedar and dust. Her father's old books still lined the shelf. The rocking chair still sat by the window, unmoved. But the mirror above the fireplace was new. She looked at herself and didn't recognize the woman. Yet behind her eyes, Evelyn knew the girl was still in there, waiting to be acknowledged. Over the course of a week, Evelyn stayed in the house. She made tea in the mornings, walked the shoreline, and spent hours on the dock staring into the water. And then one morning she brought her easel out. She painted the dock, just as it was. She painted the water, the sky, the trees. And when it came time to paint the silhouette, she paused. Her hands trembled. Then she took a deep breath and began. Not as a victim. Not as a frightened girl. But as a woman reclaiming her truth. She didn't paint him as menacing. She didn't even give him a face. Just the outline. Just enough. It wasn't about him anyway. It was about her. Her courage. Her silence. Her survival. That night, she took the painting and set it adrift on the water, like a lantern carrying her burden out to sea. It floated for a while, then tipped and sank. Evelyn didn't cry. She just watched. By morning she had packed. As she locked the door for the last time, she felt lighter. Not because she had forgotten, but because she had finally remembered and released it. Back home in her cottage, Evelyn kept painting. But now her work changed. Women in gardens. Women walking alone in the rain. Women dancing barefoot on sunlit floors. Not just images, testaments. Reflections of a life lived fully, despite the shadows. Her daughters noticed the change. They said she seemed brighter, more at peace. She just smiled. She never told anyone what happened that night. But in every painting, in every color and brushstroke, she told the truth to herself. And that finally was enough.